and welcome to Sheila Lives Out Loud. My name is Sheila Mwanyega and we are in Mombasa County, county number 001, and we're here for an exclusive conversation with His Excellency Governor Hassan Ali Joho. We're going to talk about public service, we're going to talk about what happens next, and we're also going to take a look at his thoughts on the COVID pandemic. We don't want to be late now, so let's get going. And of course, mask up. Ready? Let's go. Hello, I'm Sheila Mwanyega. Thank you for finding me here. Please click subscribe and hit notifications for more content from this channel. And my guest was the first elected governor of Mombasa County.
Still is.
Wait. The conversation says that he's currently in his second term.
Yeah.
I think I love that intro though.
Yeah, let's keep going. It's fun. Let it be that way.
Okay, so be it. And you're still here, you're still watching? Excellent. Click subscribe, hit notifications. We're all set for an absolute exclusive from an amazing man. He is His Excellency Governor Hassan Ali Joho. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Thank you for coming, Sheila.
I think I get too official sometimes.
We're happy to have you. You don't get too official. Let's make it easy.
Fantastic.
Fun, detailed conversation will be interesting.
Wonderful. In speaking and kicking off this conversation, I go back to last year. At the beginning of the pandemic, I think I reached out because there was so much that was happening and we all didn't understand the way forward and what was going on. And truly, you stood out. And we had a conversation and I was hoping that I could chat with you and see what it is you were going through on this end, because there was the lockdown and all we could see was news articles. But I know you had your hands full here, but you're a man of your word. And here we are a year later, and I have so many questions about the year that was. So let's go back to the beginning, Governor.
Unfortunately, a year later, we're not even sure whether we can comfortably say we've progressed and things have changed. Today we are looking at the third wave.
Yes, sir.
We may be going back to the same situation if we're not careful. So 1 year in is still a struggle.
But you have tried and
we
you
have
have
tried,
learned.
and we will continue to try.
Yeah.
And we have learned, even though we are dealing with what we call fatigue,
Yeah.
Consistency of a certain way of life that is not so comfortable. People get tired, but certainly we have to find a way to keep reminding them of how grave these matters are. And that's where we are today.
Okay.
But last year, same time like this, was really tough. It was the time that we needed to make very hard decisions that probably at that point very few people were able to understand and even hear us as to where and what we wanted to achieve. But we did what we could, and honestly, I think we gave it our best. Not myself alone, but with other people. We were able to mobilize a good team from both public and private sector that were able to do so much at that time, and that made a huge difference.
Okay.
So 1 year in, we still are in the same conversation.
With a few lessons learned, obviously.
With a lot of lessons learned. A lot of lessons learned.
Yeah. I must say, one thing that everyone, and when I say everyone, it's all Kenyans, we noted, Kenyans take notice of things. And we understood you were not in the background, you were in the foreground. Why was it important for you to be right there? We saw you, with the sanitization stations. Weren't you afraid for 1 minute?
No, but you have to, as a leader, you have to lead from the front. You have to show example to others on how things get done. And particularly when, at that point, I needed to mobilize people, to come and give hand and help so that we can be able to achieve certain goals in fighting COVID. So there's absolutely no way I would send people without me being there. I needed to be the first amongst others. And that's what happened, and that's what allowed us space an encouragement for people to come in a bigger number. I mean, what we saw, for example, when we asked for young volunteers on data collection, one day advert got us 7,000 plus applications on young people who had wanted to just volunteer, and you know, so we can do detailed research and collect data. We had 7,000 applications in a day, and that's why we were able to quickly come up with the numbers of households and even do research on the needy families and what they needed. And that is what informed us to form our nutrition support program. That was very, in my opinion, extremely successful and unprecedented. It is because of the people that were involved. And I had to lead them. I had to be the first one. I had to be the frontliner for them. Even to encourage them. Even the medical workers. They needed to see someone that says, I am with you on this one. I'm never going to leave you alone. We are together. And that's what I did. And I'm glad it went very well.
And listening to you speak, acts of kindness are everything to you. Leadership is not just about decision making, it's also participating in those decisions and the actions of those decisions. But there's kindness too.
It is important. We know, don't take this saying that leadership is God-given for granted. Indeed, it is God-given. And you must acknowledge and appreciate that there, for example, here in Mombasa, there's 1.2 million of us. God chose me to be the governor. So whatever I do, I have to always think about giving back. And what you call acts of kindness can be anything. Can be as simple as giving someone water. So now, look at the burden of responsibility I have today as governor. It means I have to be doing something extraordinary. And for me, that's life. Life that knows no boundary. You know, humanity that knows no boundary, no limitations. For as long as you can be able to do something, you have to get it done. And that's what drives us. And it gives me comfort. And it reminds me that I'm as a human being every other time by interacting, helping, engaging, and being in a position to be able to be there for your people. And that's what matters. It gives me a good night's sleep when I go home and believe that I have done something, even if it's just one individual, positive in their lives. It helps me to get some good night's sleep.
You've mentioned the third wave, and that is true. We are in the throes of a third wave right now, and there's a lot of grief and a lot of loss that just follows on the opportunities and also lives that were lost in the previous year. When you look back, is there anything you look back on and you say, I wish I approached this differently?
Honestly, probably in the way, in certain areas where we had an engagement with some people who were not understanding, probably, at that time. Even though we didn't have as much time as we would have wanted to have, but we needed to get certain things done, certain things said. It was hard for people to comprehend, probably at that time. But over the period, and I give you an example, there's been a situation when I went to a certain place in Mombasa and I said, test, trace, isolate. People never understood me. But later on, I started getting calls from those that vehemently opposed me. You know, that they have shifted their mind and they were now, you know, pro what I had said earlier. So it takes a bit of time, but then again, it's a learning process and people get to understand you much better, much clearer over the period.
The tourism sector, Mombasa Raha, but it's been...
First of all,
yes, sir.
How has it been Raha for you?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
You will tell your viewers to be coming to Mombasa, right?
Of course
and enjoy the sumptuous cuisine, our culture, our beach,
Kabisa.
people.
Kabisa.
Yeah.
There's nowhere like Mombasa. You can travel the world. There's nowhere like Mombasa.
You are absolutely right.
There's nowhere
If there's
like
one thing that you have said is 100% correct, that is the one. On a light note.
Perfect. But in looking at the economic stance now and the situation, for so many who were on either half pay or were in locations and places that were closed, recovery, how has that been?
First of all, let me tell you, Mombasa is a service economy.
Yeah.
It is now, then we've been trying to diversify to get to manufacturing, value addition, special economic zones been created, what have you.
Yeah.
But for far too long, we've been a service economy. And obviously, we've been hit hard. It started with the insecurity issue.
Yeah.
Remember the extremism and what have you. And then as we were on the recovery path, this thing of COVID happened. But I am glad that we're able to quickly diversify the destination from not only being a beach destination, but into a conferencing and meeting destination. Yeah. And I can tell you for the last year, that is what has kept us alive. We have good numbers of local people from Nairobi, from Uganda, from Tanzania, that flocking into Mombasa for holding meetings and conferences.
Right.
For us, that has helped us to stay in the conversation on matters tourism. But obviously, we need to diversify our products. The whole world now is almost at a standstill.
Yeah.
But we are working on our recovery plan. We have launched what we call economic stimulus program post-COVID in Mombasa. We have reached out to partners.
Yeah.
We're looking at raising funds to be able to give to SMEs. We're looking at how do we realign policies at our level and even influence national government to look at certain policies that will be useful for the challenges that have been faced today by Kenyan people.
Yeah.
So we'll largely look at the economic issues and realign policies that will enable people to now go back to what they used to be or even better.
Even better.
So we have a stimulus program here in Mombasa that we're rolling out in partnership with financial institutions and also other partners globally to be able to ensure Mombasa stays alive in the economic conversation.
In speaking about economic conversation, Kenya's population is very young. The youth are here. The future has begun. And you appeal and cut across to so many, not just Mombasa youth. It's across Kenya. You have this ear on the ground. How does that happen? Because in making these decisions that you're making and in the direction you're going, you're not walking alone. There's a whole army walking with you.
Can I tell you something? I give people basic examples. Like when you sit at home, end month has arrived. Everybody has a way of doing their budgeting.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
And your allocation is always informed by the needs. Okay? You will allocate more money in education if you're paying school fees for more children.
True.
If you're consuming more electricity, you'll obviously allocate more money from your salaries. And this is my take today.
Yeah.
As a Kenyan young leader, I am telling the country, I have heard people talking about how they want to respond to jobs demands and lack of jobs. But you see, I can tell you for a fact, just like the way you support your programs at home with resources, even in the national conversation, we must be at a point where we must agree that one of the greatest challenges of our time today is to respond to the needs of the young people. They are jobless, they have no hope, they don't see a future, and we can speak as much as we want about many things. But if we do not, and I keep repeating this, if we do not respond adequately to the needs of these young people, then Kenya will have a problem. And therefore, just like you produce or you set aside resources to fit into your needs, let us remember as a country, the greatest challenge we have today is millions and millions and millions of young people that have no hope. They are jobless. They don't know where to start.
Yeah.
They do not know where to begin. They do not know who to talk to. So for me, let us even factor how we share resources as certain percentage and a big percentage. If I You know, everybody talks about, for example, I had some team saying 29 billion for young people. The others are saying 30 billion for young people. That's like 1% of our budget. We're looking at 3 trillion. At minimum, someone should look at maybe 10, 15%. 300, 400 billion should be dedicated to ensure people are made to be entrepreneurs. People are made to be business people. Empower them properly. We move away from this conversation of only imagining that a group of young women or youth can come to you to take money from Uwezo that is capped at 100,000 or 50,000. It doesn't do anything. Let us find resources to be able to allow them to do real businesses and make them, you know, real entrepreneurs, real, you know, they get to real business conversations. So for me, we have to respond to the needs by allocating adequate resources, not these shenanigans that we use in our political rallies that are not useful. You know, to cause an excitement and escalate emotions that has no meaning whatsoever going forward. So for me, there has to be a shift, and it begins here at the leadership.
I like that you've put 3 things on the table, and I'll tell you what they are. You've mentioned empowerment, you've mentioned political engagement, and you've also talked about allocation. Currently, the youth have the power. Let's say it for what it is. They've got the numbers and they've got the time. And truly their time has come. If you look at the Kenyan landscape right now, it's very fractured. People are pulling and pushing in different directions.
It's fragmented.
Yes, it is. The way forward, I know you got into politics quite young, and you have been there and you have trailblazed. Your career is phenomenal, but you got engaged. You were not just, you know, watching things happen. You jumped in and took on a political career, and you're here and you're able to say, there's this, and there's that. What would you say to young Kenyan youth? Because there are a lot of people who are now saying, Sita vote tena. My vote doesn't
That
mean
is the
anything.
whole point. That's the whole point that we're saying. It has to be different this time. It has to be different. It doesn't have to be your tribe. It doesn't have to be someone from your region. You know, you look at kind of leadership that will be responding to your needs. You know, there has to be a shift in the mindset of the people. And me, I'm asking the young people, this is now your opportunity. We're going to an election where your impact must be felt. And the way it is felt, it is what you need. For example, a young people that one that has not been allowed or been enabled to go through some level of education. We have stories here in Mombasa. I can take you to some of the young people that we have dedicated our time to nurture them, to mentor them, to train them, and we have turned them into business people. When we started, some started with a small capital as 100,000. Today they are importing containers. So that can be achieved countrywide. You just understand how to have a conversation with the people and be responding to their needs, build their capacity. You don't have to be a graduate with a first class honors to do business, you know, and we'll not disregard you, and we'll, you know, shift from the notion that, you know, those that were only at A level or O levels are only enabled to do certain jobs. You know, we will empower them properly. And most importantly, we have to look at the country's policies that are supportive to the young people. You know, every legislation, every policy that has been formulated, priority today is to understand the needs of this huge population of our young people that have no hope. So my friend, we have a lot of work to do, and I know I can do it because I'll involve everybody. I will not look at it. And this is how we're saying, the way we're so divided as a country. When I came to Mombasa, the first speech that I gave as governor, I reminded people that is what has made us special, what has made Mombasa to be Mombasa, is because we've always believed that our diversity is our strength. We've always believed that everybody that you see here in Mombasa brings value in one way or another. You just have to find it, look for it, find it, and use it. So we need to ensure that is the country we live in Kenya. Yeah. Find the young people, listen to them, guide them, mentor them, build their capacity, enable them, find them resources to be able to be real business people and real entrepreneurs in this country. It can be done. I know it can be done. I have seen it happen.
Governor, I feel like we are already stepping forward to my next question on what happens next. I feel like you're showing us the blueprint of where service, public service on your part, is now guiding you towards. You're already sharing your blueprint of what's happening next. Because in about a year or so, we go to the polls and we see what happens next. But you're already telling us there's a possibility of a different plan.
There has to be a different plan. You know, and I can tell you this. I want to talk to the young people of this country. And I am a living example. I keep repeating my story for the reason that everybody must know and understand that if you want to be able to do something, then you have to go for it. When I ran for Member of Parliament, I know my peers, my friends, my family, they made a lot of mockery at that time. They even laughed at me like, surely, those are the languages that they used at that time. Yeah. But I made that bold decision, even though I've come from a family. By the way, I'm the first elected leader in my family. Mm-hmm. I am the first politician in my entire family. Mm-hmm. I had no political background that, would guide me and help me and support me. I started as the first one. And I went for it. And I thank God, alhamdulillah, I made it to be an overwhelming support. I beat my opponent at that time with such a huge margin. Such a huge, over 20,000 something votes. And then the same story when I wanted to be governor. They were saying, governor, VP. I made it first governor. I thank God again, I made it second governor. And the country is changing. And I keep repeating, I don't have to be called Arab something or Hassan Kamau to even say I want to be president or to be president. I am a Kenyan like any other Kenyan. And the Constitution allows. Right. And we have the capacity, the ability, the experience, the knowledge. And we are responding to the needs of the people. So we are going to be there, my friend. You watch this space.
We're going to be there on
Muangalie tu vizuri.
Is this a presidency?
Waangalie tu vizuri. Hiyo ballot. Yeah, presidential ballot.
Yes, sir.
You will see my face there with my beard and little gray hair. Utaiona hapo tu.
Representing
the people and the needs of the people. Mm-hmm. That's the most important thing. You look at countries that have succeeded. Yeah. They research and analyze and understand where they want to take their countries. Mm-hmm. And that's what we need to do. We have a huge population of our young people that we must put to work. They will help us transform this economy. They will help us build a stable and sustainable economy. They can help us. We just have to let them and allow them the opportunity to be able to do that. And that's the country I want to see.
Listening to your plan for next year and seeing what you've been able to achieve with everything that you have been through, social media is a big tool. And you are very active on social media, which is a wonderful place to be, to connect, to reach out, and also to engage. But it is also an opportunity where sometimes people may not understand sometimes. We do have different generations living in the digital age, and it's very easy for people and perceptions and misconceptions to also occur. I would like you to tell us about certain things. People come into social media saying, oh, but this person is like this, or this person is like that.
First of all, they are what we call keyboard warriors.
Yes.
We know them. They're there for hire. If you need them, they get paid and do stuff. Mm-hmm. But personally, I have developed enough thick skin to be able to fathom that kind of situation. Mm-hmm. It doesn't get to me. Mm-hmm. But even though sometimes there's a situation where people get too personal, I pick them up as a lesson. I read them. as much as they can be as abusive as they want. But I could read something from them. And I always have learned to use that positively. And I allow them their space. But that's like a very small percentage of the engagement on social media. There's a lot of positive vibe. I can tell you for free, there's a lot of positive vibe, lot of encouragement, a lot of drive that will now gets us to want to continue to do more. And that's where our focus is. We focus on the positive vibe on social media. The naysayers will be there, the negative, whatever we call them, or the keyboard warriors, they will always be there. We read them, we forget about them.
Right.
If whatever they say may have some element of truth, we use it to rectify a wrong, or even learn from certain mistakes that have been done. Because sometimes they could be right. We're human after all. We're not God. We cannot be perfect. So we learn from it. But importantly is that we have been able to develop enough thick skin to be able to bear with sometimes their insults.
Okay.
It's normal for me.
And for where you're headed, that thick skin is going to serve you well.
Yeah, as a leader, you must be able to at some point accept certain things. Being abused is one of them. It doesn't bother me at all. The only thing that I want to do, and I learned this from some other politicians as well, when you abuse me, sometimes I want to understand why. Maybe you have a point. And if you don't have a point, I will just say, it's just another one of those. Let them be.
Chiriku.
Yeah. But me now, I'll continue with my conversation. Importantly is, I will attempt to listen. If you make sense, if you're saying the truth, if there is something that we haven't seen, we will change it. But if not, we will disregard you and allow your space to continue waste your data and money that you would have put to better use by buying data so you can abuse others.
To do something different. As we go forward, and we're getting ready to now close, is looking at vaccinations. We now have vaccines in the country, trying to reach out to help everybody and as many Kenyans as we possibly can. Your words of advice concerning this third wave and vaccinations, we'd like to hear.
I think we just need to go for it. Initially, I was looking at a situation, you know, COVID has taught us, the people who suffered most, first of all, we're lucky that 96% of the people that have gotten COVID are asymptomatic. But the 3-4% were severe cases and we lost many lives. So initially, I was advocating for vaccination to be prioritized in line with people with pre-existing conditions. People that are more susceptible to be getting COVID. But because there's an issue or a mindset problem, then we may have to change tact. So we're saying, okay, if you think we in the leadership are making you sacrificial lamb, then let us be the ones to do it first. Let us do it. See if there's any reaction. So I took time to try and understand the entire process of vaccination. And little did I know that the vaccine of this thing called measles, that it's probably mandatory for everybody, has probably much more severe side effects than the COVID one would have had. But it was dealt with. And everybody, when they have a child, they take them to be vaccinated. All right? So also this one of COVID is just a matter of time. It will change. But like I said, we may need to change tact a little bit so that we are the ones leading from the front. And then others shall follow.
Right.
Are you planning to be vaccinated?
Yes, sir.
You'd better.
I shall.
You'd better.
As soon as I'm given the green light and I'm told it's okay.
And by the way, so that Kenyans are able to know, this is the easier way for us to achieve what we call herd immunity. Vaccination is the easier way. When the bigger population is vaccinated, the closer we get to achieve herd immunity.
Right.
So we have to do it. We've got to do it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Final question. Things about you people wouldn't believe but are true. What would those be? Your top 3?
That's a tough one. I mean, that's like the hardest question you've ever asked.
No, it can't be that hard. I mean, everybody.
So let me begin. What is it that you wouldn't believe about me?
About you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You're the one who does these things that I wouldn't believe.
Like what?
For instance, maybe you actually like to eat ugali for breakfast. You know, and nobody would believe that's true, but it's the truth. You know, it could be something that you absolutely love, but nobody would believe that this is your favorite food, for instance.
Oh my goodness. I'm a very simple person.
Okay.
I fit into every situation. I can go anywhere and enjoy whatever is there. The only thing that I don't touch is probably alcohol. I've never touched alcohol. I have the rest.
Or maybe I like board games. You know?
Oh yeah. So, let me tell you.
Yes, sir.
There is this game. First of all, we play a lot of board games at home. We play Scrabble. But there's a game called Ludo. No, Ludo.
Ludo.
We used to play Ludo when we were young.
I remember it used to have a board with very strange looking tiny pieces, but I never learned how to play Ludo.
I have to teach you. The good thing is that with technology, it's now on an iPad and on a phone.
Yeah.
So it's more like automated.
Okay.
You know the other one, when we were doing
There was dice that
you would
yes.
literally throw it.
Yeah.
And you get a 6, you come out and you go home and eat the other on the way.
I'm lost.
Yeah, but I'll
Go.
teach you. So
Yes.
that at least I do that.
Right.
What else?
So that's Ludo, that's one. We didn't know that, now we do. Board games.
Yeah. I played a bit of board games. What else? I dance quite a bit.
Oh?
Oh yes. To relieve certain pressures.
Right.
I can dance sometimes at home.
Dancing is fun.
It's really fun.
Yeah, and you know, from your social media, we see you singing songs sometimes. There was one song, I think, Katarina, and you made that song extremely famous. Did they pay you your royalties for,
No, I didn't
for
expect.
really?
I didn't expect to be paid.
No, they should. They should. I could be your manager for
How
that.
do you know I could have dedicated that song to someone? How do you know? Maybe it's
that
someone to pay me.
Is this now a new story unfolding?
No.
I'm just kidding.
I could sing. I could sing for my brother there.
Okay.
You know, an African manly song like that. Singing is normal.
So we've got Ludo, board games, and we've got dancing on top of the singing, which we have seen. So one more last one.
That people won't believe. It's hard. I don't know. I don't know what it is that I would do.
Yeah.
That people will find hard to believe.
Maybe that.
What is it?
You see how sometimes President Uhuru will be walking.
That's normal for me. That's normal. That I do every day.
Okay.
That is, everybody in Mombasa knows it. Everybody knows it in Mombasa.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything that I do that you find hard to believe? Scuba diving is also normal. Scuba diving is normal. For me, by the way, I drive by myself a lot. I walk a lot. I go to places by myself a lot.
Right.
But the other thing maybe is my hand in cooking.
Oh, you can cook?
Sumptuous. If I cook for you once.
Really?
The only problem is, Sheila, you'll be disturbing me to want to come again and again and again and again.
Okay.
If I cook for you once. So I can't. It's a lot of work. But if I cook,
it's a wrap.
You won't believe it, man.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
This is okay. The big threes. Wouldn't believe it, but wonderful. Giving us insights into who you are, where you are, and most importantly, where you're going. Asante sana, Governor.
Thank you so much, Sheila, and I wish you all the very best.
Thank
so you
you.
heard what Sheila said at the beginning of the show. That button right there, press it right now. It's written subscribe. Right?
Yeah. Wow. This is amazing. Asante sana.
Subscribe. let's support our sister here.
Yes.
Let's support Sheila.
Yay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Subscribe. Yeah.
Hit notifications. Okay.
Thank you so much,
so
Sheila.
much.
Thank you.
Asante sana.